And don't forget, we're going to start with the fourth item.
Yes, ma'am. All right, welcome everyone to the June 15th, 2021 meeting of the Town of Islip Zoning Board of Appeals. We'll start by reading the public notice. Notice is hereby given that due to the novel coronavirus COVID-19 pandemic and recent executive orders issued by the governor, the Town of Islip Zoning Board of Appeals hearing scheduled for Tuesday, June 15th, 2021 at 6 p.m. will be held electronically via Zoom webinar instead of an in-person public hearing and will be streamed live over the internet. Instructions on how to access are available on the town's website. Dated June 4th, 2021, John M. Lorenzo, Chairman. Mr. Chairman, our first application tonight is number 349-21, James N. M., and Caroline M. Rice. Permission to erect a roofed over porch, leaving a side yard of 10.9 feet instead of the required 18 feet, Residence AA District, west side of Snedeker Avenue, number 226, 736.08 feet north of Academy Street, Bayport, New York. Is there anyone here for the applicant? And Mr. Gonzalez is raising his hand.
Thank you, Mr.
Unmute. Okay, can you hear me?
Can you hear?
Good evening, everyone. Hope you're all doing well. Well, basically, let me describe this. This actually,
Sorry, can we just get your name and address for the record,
oh,
please?
sure. First name is Mel, last name Gonzalez, Gonzalez. I'm with MIG Architect, PLLC, 1050 Old Nichols Road, Suite 200, Orlando, New York, 11749.
How are you tonight?
Good, very good. Thank you. About yourself?
Good, thanks.
So I'm here representing Lynn and Jim Rice for the subject property. And what they're requesting is a side yard variance. Right now, we're proposing a roofed over porch open on 3 sides, measuring approximately 28 feet, 2 3/8 inches by 8 feet in depth, with a 8-inch overhang on the side yard. And the way we've proposed this is that the front roofed over porch, the deck area of the porch, is actually in line with the existing dwelling. And the existing dwelling is 11.7 feet from the side yard property, and it's been like that for decades.
Yep.
So what we're looking to do is just align that with the existing dwelling. And the roof over, of course, has an overhang that's going to encroach 8 inches into that side yard setback a little bit further. Therefore, we're requesting a 10.9 foot side yard setback where 18 is required. Go ahead.
Oh, said, you had to say go
Okay.
ahead.
I also want to point out that it had been granted a variance previously in 2004, actually December 14 of 2004, with a vote of 5-0 on the granting.
Yeah, but that wasn't a good board then.
And the variance had expired. So what we're looking to do actually is just reinstitute the original proposal.
Sure.
And quite honestly, we're looking at the 5 points of the variance. It's maintaining, the character of the neighborhood. It's not going to be a detriment to the neighborhood. There's no other way to accomplish this in terms of.
I don't think, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but I don't know if you have to go any further. If you would like
Okay.
us to just check a planning and take a vote.
Sure.
It's staying in line with the house, something we see a lot. It's going to be open. Let me see, Deirdre from planning, any objection?
No objections.
Does anyone wish to be heard in this application?
There is a neighbor, the adjacent property owner has indicated that they wanted to speak. If you still want to speak, Kyle, now's your chance. I presume it was support. It's the neighbor to the north, but that might have been too presumptuous.
There he is. We just can't hear you.
Is it support? Are you here to support your neighbor? Thumbs up.
All right.
Okay.
Let the record reflect.
All right.
Thank you,
so, does anyone else wish to be heard in this application? Does the board have any questions? Mr. Sullivan, I'll take a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I move to grant the application.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Application granted. Have a great night.
Thank you very much. You have a good evening.
You too.
Me too. Our
Bye
next application, number 350-21, Brian and Ashley Cloak, permission to erect a second-story addition, leaving a side yard of 11.9 feet instead of required 14 feet, and a floor area ratio of 26.2% instead of permitted 25%. Residence B District, east side of Briarwood Avenue, number 553, 160 feet south of Edmore Lane, West Islip, New York. Is there anyone here for the applicant?
You're saying you mute.
Oh, sorry about that. How are you? I'm Brian Cloak. I'm the homeowner.
Just address for the record, sir, if you don't mind.
553 South Briarwood Avenue, West Islip, New York, 11795.
Great. How are you tonight?
I'm great. How are you?
Good. So it appears your household's 11.9 foot on the side yard. You just gone straight over the existing footprint?
Correct.
All right, and a little bit high on the FAR, but we allow up to 30%. You're at 26.2, so you will match what we like to see.
Excellent.
Does anyone wish to be heard in this application? Does the board have any questions? Is Mr. Wex on? I couldn't see.
I think he froze again.
Froze again?
I had him on but muted.
Mr. Messina, I'll take the. I'll take him
Oh,
off.
there he is.
Be back.
Unmute yourself, Mr. Wexler.
Hi.
There
Can you
go.
hear me now?
Hey, I got you now.
Hello. You like me better on mute. I'll make a motion that we grant the application.
And then I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Application granted. Have a great night.
All right. Thank you so much.
Mr. Chairman, our next application has been adjourned from April 13th, 2021 and May 11th, 2021. It is number 217-21, Walter Connolly. Permission to erect a one-story addition, leaving a rear yard of 17.25 feet instead of the required 25 feet, to reconstruct the deck approximately 8 inches high, leaving a rear yard of 8 feet instead of the required 15 feet, and to leave decking approximately 34 inches high, having a side yard of 4.5 feet instead of the required 5 feet. Residence B AA District, west side of Keel Walk number 8, 150 feet north of Central Walk, Fair Harbor. Is there anyone here for the applicant?
Mr. Vice Chairman, Mr. Messina, I got to recuse myself on this.
All righty, Mr. Wexler, would you take the con then, since you're familiar with the area?
Yes, I will. Let's see, is the applicant here?
I am here. I'm assuming you guys can hear me.
Yes, sir.
Okay, your name,
Yep.
please, for the record.
Greg Ray, 328 Plymouth Avenue, Brightwaters, New York, 11718. I believe that's the wrong plan that you guys are looking at.
Okay, well, hang
well,
on. This is the plan that we have.
No,
What?
we
No.
have.
Is there another
We-
plan?
Yeah, there is. There is.
Can you share your
We-
screen, Ms. Pissarro, and show it to us, perhaps? Look at how slick you are.
Thank you. Oh,
Not you. You know, you only have 4 votes here to start with. You're down 1 already. I wouldn't be cute if I were you.
Hi. Let's see.
You know, while you're doing that, I'm looking at the application. It doesn't seem to be anything highly unusual. Is Deidre around?
Yes, I'm here.
Hello, Deidre.
Hello.
Hi, I'm the chairman emeritus pursuant to Mr. Messina's adoption
Declaration.
declaration. Am I correct in that the call the calendar seems to be well in range of what we grant?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure everything has precedent except for the 4.5 instead of 5, but that's 6 inches off, so no objections from planning.
Okay,
Deirdre,
maybe we'll,
Can you let me share, please?
Please.
Okay, so you should be able to.
Okay. Let's see.
I like those rhinestone glasses.
I got it. I got it. Share screen. Okay. There it is. You have it?
Is this the correct one?
It looks better.
Okay,
Received May 11th, 2021.
all
Right.
right,
Between
okay.
the two hearings, between the first and the second hearing.
All right, now that we've studied it intently, any members of the board have any questions regarding this application?
No, thank you.
Does anybody from the public wish to be heard? There being nobody wishing to be heard, Mr. Messina, I'll take an application, please.
I'll make a motion to grant the application.
Mr.
Second.
Sullivan,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion granted.
All right,
Application.
Mr. Wexley, your star turn is over, Mr. Chairman.
Yeah.
The con is back to you, sir. Next application.
It was
Number-
short-lived.
Yeah, but it's sweet while it lasted.
Yeah.
Number 351-21, James Robert, Kevin, and William J. Miller, trustees to Mary I. Miller Life Estate. Permission to leave the deck having a front yard of 18.5 feet instead of permitted encroachment setback of 20 feet, and to leave deck having a side yard of 0.1 feet instead of the required 4 feet. Residence B District, east side of Woodlawn Avenue, number 26, 100 feet north of St. John Street, Central Islip, New York. Is there anyone here for the applicant?
Asking him to start his video. Mr. Miller, can you hear us? Oh, wait, hold on. We've got a hand up. There's two Mr. Millers. Okay, let's see. Came in twice.
Well, there's James Robert, Kevin, and William Miller,
Yeah, maybe.
after all. So
Okay,
there's William and William Jr.
I
it
just
appears.
promoted in the other William Miller.
I'm here.
Uh,
Oh, good.
There you
Okay.
go.
Okay, thank you. I'm sorry about that.
I wish you were the first.
Oh,
How are you tonight, sir?
I'm good. How is everyone there?
Great. Name and address for the record, please.
Yes, my name is William Miller. I'm representing all four of us, my three brothers and myself. The address that I am asking about tonight is 26 Woodlawn Avenue, Central Islip, New York, 11722.
Great. And you're seeking permission to leave a deck with a little bit of short of a front yard setback, seems de minimis, and a wood deck on a side yard, 0.1 instead of 4. Is it on grade, the deck?
The one in the backyard?
Yeah.
Yes, it's on a patio.
So it's on the ground now, right? It's not raised on the ground?
On the ground. I did send pictures in, and I believe that the secretary is holding it up. Yes, and that's the one in the back.
Good.
Oh, it's high tech. Nice.
Yes,
Yeah, right.
takes me too long to share.
Yeah. That's okay.
All right.
This is where my mom and dad live, so please don't let the outside, show my taste in outdoor.
Oh,
I actually like their red.
Shots fired.
I think their red is lovely.
Yeah,
I do too, Ms. Pissarro.
Mhm.
Neat.
no, the red isn't the problem, but actually it looked better than what was on the cement back in 19.
We're gonna have to give them a mercy grant because they have a horrible son.
But they have a nice neighbor. Alice O'Mara called to say she supports the application. She lives at 155 St. John Street.
All right, thank you. Does anyone wish to be heard in this application? Does the board have any questions? Mr. Nicole, I'll take a motion.
Motion to grant the application.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Application granted. sir.
The members of the board, thank you very much for your time. Thank you.
Thank you. Good night.
Good
All
night.
right, next application is number 352-21, Eric Kearns. Permission to erect a roofed over porch, leaving side yards of 9.3 feet and 14.7 feet instead of the required 18 feet each. Residence AA District, north side of Grady Street, number 123, 667.42 feet west of Snedeker Avenue, Bayport. Is there anyone here for the applicant?
Yes.
God bless you.
Sorry.
No, don't be.
Bless you.
Have them both.
Yes, hi, my name's Eric Kearns.
How are you tonight, sir? It's address for the record, please.
123 Grady Street.
Great.
April.
You're here seeking permission to erect a roofed over porch. Side yards 9.3 and 14.7 instead of required 18.
Yes, sir.
Deirdre, any objection from planning?
No objections, but I want it to be specified that it's really because where the roofed over porch is, and based on the property, because it's a flag lot property, it will be so far back in the neighbors. It's not like it's 9.3 from a house. So their house is back here. So it closest it would be,
So the location would mitigate any potential adverse impacts.
correct.
Thank you.
Does anyone wish to be heard in this application? Does the board have any questions? Mr. Sullivan, I'll take a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I move to grant the application.
Second.
In favor?
Aye.
Application granted, sir. Have a good night.
Mr. Kearns, nice background.
That was fun. Thank you, guys. Appreciate it. I do these Zoom calls for a living, so this background is well thought out.
Well, if it's fun, we have to add to your fee then. There's an
Oh, come
extra
on.
entertainment charge.
How about dinner?
No, thank you.
Later, guys. Thank you.
Good night. Next application, number 353-21, Thomas Miano. Permission to leave stairs and entrance platform, an elevated dwelling having a front yard of 22.5 feet instead of the required 25 feet, Residence B District, northwest corner of Inlet Number 7 and Bay Place, Bay Shore, New York. Is there anyone here for the applicant?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Just name and address for the record.
Yes, it's Thomas Miano, 7 Inlet View, Bay Shore, New York, 11706.
How are you tonight, sir?
I'm fine. How are you doing?
Good. So you have some stairs and entrance platforms to your elevated dwelling, a little bit short of a front yard.
Yes,
So,
yes, the deck that's in green.
That's what you're here for, huh?
Yes, sir.
Just the, it's just the platform. It's not a deck, right? You just walk up and turn.
Correct, yes. Sort of a landing from the first flight to the second as we turn to the entrance. Yep.
All right.
So the house was elevated. We actually approved the elevation of the house in 2020.
Mhm.
And this is an unfinished photo, so I'm sure it looks a little different than that now, but those are the stairs that are necessary now to get up into the house.
You know, Ms. Becerra, you are very good at holding that so we can see the picture. I gotta say, you're the best I've ever seen at that.
Great.
Kudos to you.
Let's do Zoom forever.
Yes.
And she made it look good too, I think.
Is that, Deirdre, any objection from planning?
No objections.
Anyone wish to be heard in this application? Does the board have any questions? Mr. Nicole, I'll take a motion.
Motion to grant the application.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Application granted. Have a good night, sir.
Thank you very much.
My next application is number 354-21, Julia M. Labiento, excuse me, permission to erect two-story addition, 14 by 24, leaving a side yard of 12.25 feet instead of required 14 feet, to leave shed having a second front yard of 1 foot instead of the required 27 feet, and not having 20 feet behind the front line of the dwelling. Pool patio having a second front yard of 18 feet instead of required 30 feet, and a 6-foot fence on a property line not having a required setback of 10 feet. Residence A District, southeast corner of Wagstaff Lane, number 39, and Gorgo Lane, West Islip. Is there anyone here for the applicant?
Yes, Michael Dunn is here. Can you hear me?
Hey, Mr. Dunn, how are you?
Hi, good evening, everyone. It's Michael Dunn from 1981 Union Boulevard, Bay Shore, New York, 11706, here for the applicants.
I thought you were gonna say Michael Dunn from 1981. I was gonna say you got retro clothes on or something.
That's great. How are you, sir?
I'm good. Guys are all well.
Good, good. State your case. Good.
Are planning on a garage addition to this house. We're asking for 12.25 feet instead of the required 14. So the garage, I think that ask is de minimis, but then we run into the fence and the shed and the patio. The patio is just portion of the patio is at that setback. The rest is at 25 feet. So it's not as bad as it sounds for the patio.
Mhm.
Did a drive-by in that immediate four corner area on that block. And amazingly enough, every house across the street and diagonally across the street and right behind them, they all have the same fence. I did send pictures. Standing. So
There they are.
those 6-foot fences pretty much right on the property line.
Mhm.
So due north, due east, due west, and northwest all have the same condition in that area.
You know what we're gonna say to you though with that, right?
Oh, it's, the lot area is what, Mike? Do you know offhand?
I'm looking on, I don't see it on the survey.
1,000.
How much, Deirdre?
I believe it's 12,000 even.
Okay,
Ah, so we're right there. You go up to 12,000.
there you go.
And what about the shed? not 20 feet behind the front line dwelling. How long has it been there?
I'm not sure. They've been there for a few years, so I know it's been at least a few years. It's been,
Could they move it back?
they can if it's a deal breaker. They could move it back a little bit, or they have the other side of the property.
They got lots of property to relocate that on, I suspect, Mr. Chairman.
So I'm gonna make that to spec.
There you go.
All right. Does anyone wish to be heard in this application? Does the board have any questions? Mr. Wexler, I'll take a motion.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion that we deny so much the application seeking to leave the shed where it is. It's got to be in a compliant location, and grant the remainder of the application.
Second.
Favor?
All right.
Aye.
Have a great night, Mr. Dunn.
Okay, thank you. You too, everybody. Have a good night.
Our next application is number 355-21, Brian and Kathleen Alimena. Permission to erect a second-story addition resulting in floor area ratio of 31.7% instead of permitted 25%, to leave shed having a side yard of 1.1 feet and rear yard of 1.9 feet instead of the required 2 feet each. Residence B District, west side of Lorraine Circle, number 128, 475.93 feet northwest of Brook Street, West Sayville. Is there anyone here for the applicant?
I thought I promoted him, but I don't see him yet. Let's see what I did.
Oh,
I see him in there now, Mary. Just
Okay.
no video, no audio.
I don't see him anymore.
Yeah, I just saw him leave as well.
You want a second call this?
Yeah, we can move on to the next case and, oh, he's back in now.
I
Oh,
see the
there he
video.
is. He's in.
All right. Connecting to audio, it says on my screen. There you go. Maybe not. Hey,
Can you hear me?
yeah, there you go.
Oh my
Success.
God, I apologize. I was fine until it was my turn.
That's what I say in court all the time.
Yeah, I used to be in court a lot too.
How are you tonight?
I'm doing well, doing better now that I can hear you, or you hear me, I should say.
Name and address for the record.
Brian Alamena, 128 Lorraine Circle, West Sayville, New York.
How's Lorraine Circle doing? Good?
It's doing great.
I miss it. I wish I was there right now.
It's getting there. We
right,
got some new sidewalks put in recently. Thanks to the town.
Permission to erect second story addition resulting in floor area ratio 31.7 instead of 25. Leaving the shed side yard of 1.9 instead of 2. The shed is de minimis. Explain to us the extension you're talking about that bumps it up to floor area ratio.
Okay, so it's a second story addition over the garage. It's not impacting the original footprint of the house in any way. And it's gonna be a bedroom and a walk-in closet over the garage area with a reverse. In terms of the block, there's 23 houses on the block, and 3 of which are ranches, but the rest are 2-story colonials. Most of them, and when I say most, there's 3 2-story colonials with 1-car garage that don't have an extension over the garage. 1, which is the exact same house as mine, does have an extension over the garage, and the remaining 16 are 2-story, 2-car garage homes that have extensions over the garage. So the term I keep hearing is nature and character of the neighborhood, and we're certainly not exceeding any nature and character of the neighborhood by doing this. I think we're within what exists already.
I know Mr. Wex is going to question this with the FAR, but that entire block has, as I guess you guys would call it, legacy FAR of 40+% around that whole entire circle. My house being one of them also. And it's been like that since the 70s, the CO there. So I know the area well. I live there. Just to let Mr. Wexler know that.
Read my mind.
I know you're going for it. I saw you scratching. I'm like, you want it in?
Yeah, we ought to get an inspector out to your home.
He's more than
Fighting words.
He's been there many times. He's more than welcome. He's more than welcome. All my stuff legal. So Deirdre, any objection from planning? I don't think you should, but
There's no precedent, but if
Not that you're suggesting a result.
Wait,
Mr. Chairman.
wait, there's no precedent?
every house on that, there's 11 houses on that block that have over 40% FAR.
It's just that it was the chairman saying that it predated the.
see the no objections.
Do you know what, if I may, Mr. Chairman, do you have any idea, Deidre, or would it just be supposition, what the FAR, not including our chairman's house, but the rest of the houses? Do you know, is this in keeping with the nature and character of the neighborhood without supposition, or are you guessing, if you know?
Are you talking to me?
No, I'm talking to Deidre.
I do not know that off the top of my head, but I can find out.
Well, can we look at an aerial? That might be instructive to help massage Mr. Wexler's fears.
It will help. That will help.
Massage or assuage?
Assuage. I'm sorry.
Good, I could use a massage right now, right between my shoulder blades.
Well,
all right. You know, I'm looking at it,
areas-
those look like a lot of house on those properties. So
So
I'm with you.
if I can help just a little bit with that, and unfortunately we can't pan and move this a little bit to the west so we could see what's to the east. But what's to the east is a large open space area that was part of this filed map, which is an early clustered subdivision. And it actually wasn't an early clustered subdivision. It was a subdivision that was clustered, but it was also in an attempt to preserve the wetlands. The yield would not be so great today in these last 20 years. So as
Mary,
you can,
which is the subject house?
Smallest one.
Over here, right there. That's it.
The smallest one.
All right. Yeah, it looks like it's surrounded by properties, at least both sides, that far exceed the FAR.
Yes.
I'm fine.
Okay.
All right. Does anyone wish to be heard in this application? Does the board have any questions? Mr. Sullivan, I'll take a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I move to grant the application.
I'll second, and I ask that the record reflect, I think this is the first time Mr. Wexler has voted for an FAR over 30%.
It is in the last 15 years.
And the decision will reflect the fact that it's a clustered subdivision.
Thank you.
This way, another family will be able to have precedent to rely on when the town visits their home.
Listen, they're more than welcome in. I love
We need a vote, Mr. Chairman.
it. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Application granted, Brian. Have a nice night.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it, gentlemen.
Next application. number
And ladies.
350
You're welcome.
Number 356-21, Alyssa Reichstein. Permission to leave pool deck having a side yard of 7 feet instead of required 10 feet. And an interpretation is requested to confirm that a service horse is exempt from lot area and setback requirements of the Islip Town Code, or in the alternative, permission is requested to maintain one service horse on a lot having an area of 8,453 square feet instead of the required 20,000 square feet, to leave a stable 9.7 feet by 9.9 feet, having a side yard of 1.3 feet, and a shelter 5 feet by 9.7 feet, having a side yard of 1.1 feet instead of required 10 feet, and to leave paddock on side and rear yard property lines not having required setback of 10 feet. Residence B, 278 Cluster District, east side of Cullen Avenue, number 57, 133.53 feet north of Lawrence Circle, Islip. Is there anyone here for the applicant?
Yes,
All right.
hi. So
Good evening. Name and address for the record, please.
Sure, I'm Melissa Reichstein, Saperstein, 57 Cullen Avenue, Islip, New York, 11751.
For you tonight.
Nice to see you too.
Jan, state your case.
So my husband's disabled. He is a falling risk and also at times can be a fainting risk. We were advised to get a service animal for him because of his size and weight, and also because of the tasking that needs to be done for him. It's not physically safe for either a dog or him to have a large breed dog to service him. So we were then advised after much research that miniature horses up to 34 inches and weighing approximately 100 pounds, but in reality would be approximately 200 pounds, are protected under the FDA guidelines for, and the ADA guidelines rather, for service work. And thus, because I am a homeowner who owns my own home, I'm not in a gated community, I'm not living in an apartment complex, I would then be able to get an animal, as task train him, as long as he's fully task trained in the state of New York. He then would be protected under the ADA rights for service animals. So we did that to maintain the safety of my husband and whatever animal we chose. BB King is his name. He is.
Yeah, let me compliment you on that. No matter how this goes, I compliment you on your
So,
naming.
I have to, in all honesty, we didn't name him, but because my husband is an entertainer and I am a guitarist, also a professional musician, when he came up as a candidate for service animals, it was like an omen because I figured it was perfect. It was, it was already his name. And I thought that was just, a voice from God that he was the right choice. So that being said, I do have some, I guess I want to kind of mention some of the verbiage, I guess. The paddock is more of like a dog run. He spends most of his time inside. I did send some pictures to show you. The stable that you're referencing is actually just like a half of our shed that we just didn't put a fourth side on so that he can go in and out. It's more of a shelter. He spends most of his time in the house because that's where my husband needs the most work or the most assistance. When I'm away at school, he needs to be inside doing his job. So you can.
I'm sorry, ma'am. The horse is in your house?
Yes,
Yeah, it's a miniature horse.
He lives inside. He's 29 inches to the withers, weighs about 156 pounds, which is less than some large breed dogs.
It's less than me.
Excuse me?
It's less than me.
Yeah, right? Almost, yes.
You're allowed, they let you in the house.
Only sometimes, Mr.
Only
Sullivan.
if you get sent out, you can certainly stay in his shelter. It would be my pleasure. I have a litter box all set up for you. But he does spend most of his time inside, and the space outside is really just a run-in for, because, some of us like to go outside sometimes. My neighbors have a 6-foot solid fence we have around the property, so it's not a problem with anybody reaching in. It's not a problem with him hurting anyone. Not that he would, because he's a service animal and needs to be trained to the same standards as a service dog would be trained. He's housebroken, litter box trained, and goes to the bathroom on command when we have to travel with him.
If I may just ask a question, Mr. Chairman, this is our first service horse case.
I would assume.
How does the horse service your husband?
So he is fully task trained. He has a number of tasks that he does. The first is, and foremost, is for what they call mobility and counterbalance. So Scott, because of his stroke, is unable to walk without assistance. He uses a cane a lot of the time, a scooter sometimes. But when we're walking about, there are times that he'll lose his balance. His peripheral vision at times is non-existent. So when we're walking with BB will work like a guide dog does and guide him away from things like curbs and roots and things like that. Scott's a fall risk. So when Scott falls, he calls BB over. BB will brace so that Scott can grab around his neck and BB will help him stand. My husband can't bend down below his midline if he's standing up. So if he drops something, keys, his shoes, whatever, he can't bend to pick it up without getting dizzy and being a faint risk or a fall risk. So BB's trained to pick up whatever item might fall or whatever item Scott needs retrieved when I'm not home, when I'm at work. His most important tasks are, of course, to help him stand. The fall risk is great with him, and I'm small and have my own physical issues at close to 60 years old. So my picking my husband up off the floor is not always a possibility, certainly not while I'm at work. And that's BB's most important task. And that task is why we really couldn't use a large breed dog, because horses are built differently than dogs. So they are a much safer choice for that kind of a task.
Thank you.
You're welcome. It's strange. It's relatively new. The protections were only written into law in 2011, but they have been using horses for about 10 or 15 years prior to that. Their life expectancy and work life is so much longer. He could work 20 to 25 years. Whereas a large breed dog would only be able to work probably 4 to maybe 6 to 8 years.
Is there, not that I do not believe everything you're saying, I find it fascinating what's going on with the service animal, but is there some sort of documentation that BB King is a service animal for you?
There is
for your husband?
documentation is not legal. It's because of the HIPAA laws, I believe. Those things that are registries and so forth are really scams.
Sure.
New York State does not require them, and also goes then step beyond, asking people to not buy into that.
Okay,
there's
so
not.
wait, let me, I want to make sure I understand that.
Sure.
Documentation for the horse as a service animal is not, there's nothing, we're not asking the physical condition of any person. We're asking to show that the horse has been through some kind of program or something that would qualify him or her.
Right. So BB King is owner trained. I trained him. And yes, in New York State, documentation for service animals is not legal. So I know that.
Wait, what do you mean not legal? You can't ask for it, or there's no
such
program?
thing. Right.
Okay.
There's no such thing.
Okay, I understand now.
Some programs, like if he was a guide dog.
I got it. Thank you.
Yeah, there's no such thing. It's not illegal to ask, but there's no such thing. I don't have a way to register him.
Yeah, sure.
I don't, again, it's getting back to my first comment. I'm not stating that what you're saying is not true. And I just wanted, I'm just curious, because we have a code to abide by also. And, we have, if someone else comes up and says, well, it's a service animal, it's a much,
right.
So,
I'm not an attorney. I only know what I have been advised on, but I have owner trained him. And the questions that are allowed to be asked federally and statewide are what tasks does he do? And he certainly, I've told you those tasks.
You make a good point, and we need to look into that, I think, Mr. Chairman,
Yeah.
and reserve decision and take a look at everything the
Yeah,
applicant has presented, which is being quite extensive, I believe.
I did also give some pictures of him in his harness. Again, in the federal government says that they don't have to be worked, just service animals in general don't have to be worked in uniform. They could be worked naked, they call it, or bare. But he does have a mobility harness. He actually has two of them. We no longer use this one, we use a different one. But he does have two harnesses and is often required to use them if we're out and about with my husband because he needs the stability of that mobility harness.
If I could just ask a question, because again, this is new for
That's
us.
a lot of questions. I love answering them.
Okay. Is BB, can he go into a restaurant?
He can.
Can
Yes.
you take him into restaurants?
Yes. He has full access, the same as, I don't know if you could see my husband. He keeps that
sorry.
kind of.
No, that's okay. That's fine.
He has full access, the same as any service animal. Think of like a guide dog, the same access, because
Where does he sleep?
usually he sleeps in the garage, in his stall area. But we can leave the door open or closed because he's housebroken, so he knows if he has to go to the bathroom where he needs to go, much like a guide dog would go. But as I showed you the picture, he often just sleeps in the house.
Yeah. All right. Thank you, ma'am.
You are very welcome.
I think we have a lot to look into and discuss as a board. I think a reserve is something that's needed for this, so we can really research. As the board has said, this is our first time hearing something like this. On that.
I did attach and send to you the federal, the law from the ADA, I believe, that was sent in an earlier email.
Didn't that get circulated with the board surveys
Yep,
tonight?
I got
or
it.
no?
Yep, I got it.
So that gives you I think the code, or I don't know what it's all called. I'm sorry.
CFR, Code of Federal Regulations.
I'm nervous, so I'm losing
Oh,
words.
but why are you nervous? Come on.
We don't bite.
I
We're
know.
nice. We're nice.
You are pretty nice, very nice.
Pretty nice. Pretty
Come and
nice.
visit anytime you'd like.
That's no way to get a grant, ma'am.
All right.
Alyssa,
Thank you for
Alyssa?
educating us, ma'am. In all kidding
one
aside.
more question that might help you, and I know I like you also enjoy asking the questions, answering the questions. It gets me to get my thoughts out.
Yeah,
How
but we
did you
don't
come
ask
to
the
it?
questions. You answer
How did
them.
you come to it?
I'm sorry?
How did you come to us? It was not by a
I have
violation.
no idea. Yeah, I don't know.
I think
I
you need
think
to
it was the
utilize a pool deck. Isn't that how it started?
I think it was the shed. I have two sheds on the property that one was, I really don't know how it happened. It just did.
Well, let me just ask a question. Maybe the mechanics you'll know. You got up one morning and went to the zoning board for a reason. What was the propellant?
I got a letter in the mail,
Okay, and the letter in the mail was from the town.
right,
And
about,
the town said what?
it was about the sheds on my property that
Okay.
they are, I believe, 1 foot and some inches, and they needed to be 2 feet.
Right, we did the call of the meeting. That's
Right.
And so
And then
that-
how did the sheds become the issue with the mini horse?
Well, I think because I was trying to follow directions, so I needed, I guess, the inspection and the surveys and such. So then when the surveyor came or somebody came, they mentioned the horse, I think.
Okay, I got you. Thank you kindly. Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not really sure. The shed was here when I bought my property. So when that shed fell down or was rusting and I thought it was going to give my son salmonella or whatever they get from that, we replaced it, and we replaced it on the same footprint. When I decided to add the second shed, I replaced it again on the same, on the same.
Okay, I got you. Thank you. I understand. Thank you.
And I think that the town inquiry originally was about the pool, the above ground pool. That's actually, it's in a legal location, but it wasn't on the CO. So I think the sheds couldn't be legalized because they needed variances, but the pool could have been were it not for the sheds. The town then required an updated survey from you, and the surveyor really was delightfully descriptive and made it clear that there was a horse on the property.
All right. Again, I think we should reserve and
Me too, Mr. Chairman.
Yep, I'm with you, Chairman.
does anyone wish to be heard in this application? Anyone, Mary?
No, there's nobody that wishes to be heard.
All right. Does the board have any further questions?
So I would like to just mention that the pool is going to be taken down on Saturday and that back deck is going to be removed. So I don't know if that's part of what you are looking at, but that is what started this, I guess, from what you're saying.
So you're
Okay,
not
send us pictures after they're gone and
Perfect.
direct them to Ms. Pissarro, and that will help us on that.
Okay.
And the deck's removed too?
Yeah, we're taking it down and kind of moving it up or something. I'm not really sure, but it won't be where it is now.
Okay, great.
It will be in a compliant location, you're telling us, right?
It will, yes.
There you go. There you go.
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion that we reserve decision.
Second.
Favor?
Aye.
We have 62 days by law to render a decision. We're going to do our best to research this and get it to you sooner if we can. And if you have those pictures, once the deck and pool is removed, that would be wonderful to send in over to the office.
Perfect. And if you have any more questions for me, you certainly can ask.
Great.
Thank you.
Have a great night.
You too. Thank you so much.
All right. Thanks.
Next application number 357-21 Barbash Real Estate Company LLC. Permission to elevate a dwelling and decking, leaving first floor elevation of 12.68 feet instead of permitted 12 feet. Decking having front yard of 16.8 feet instead of the required 25 feet. Second front yard of 11.2 feet instead of required 15 feet. All having a floor area ratio of 35.6% instead of permitted 30%. Residence B AA District, northeast corner of Baywalk and Spruce Walk, north of Dolphin Walk, Dunewood, New York. Is there anyone here for the applicant?
Oh, I heard somebody. Oh, that's a service dog.
How did you know?
Susan Barbash for Barbash Real Estate, but Tim White is here to represent Michael Drake. Tim, are you there?
There he is.
Yes, is he there?
He's here.
Yes, can you hear me? Hello?
How are you?
Hi, how are you guys?
How you doing? Name and address for the record, please.
Timothy White, 250 West Main Street, Bayshore, New York.
Stage case?
We're looking to elevate this pre-existing non-conforming structure that has a failing and not secure foundation. So we're looking to put a proper structurally sound foundation on piles. In order to set it on a new foundation, we need to be FEMA compliant and Town of Islip compliant. In doing so, we're noticing that the existing house and decks do not meet the setbacks. They won't be changed from where they are now as far as FAR and front yard and side yard setbacks.
So all you're doing is raising it, nothing else is changing?
Correct. We have a couple additional ramps just to access the additional height, but
But
nothing.
those aren't
to the-
implicated in the FAR though.
No, correct.
And I'm assuming we have FAR precedent in the area. It's Fire Island. Normally they're up a little higher.
Well, and also, Mr. Chairman, I think the applicant is saying that's the existing FAR, right?
So 35.6 is the existing FAR?
Yeah, they're not
Sorry, I missed
adding
that.
anything.
No.
I apologize. I missed that.
If I may, Mr. Chairman, if we were not to grant this application, you couldn't build the house because there's no way to access it unless you had like really, really steep steps, which wouldn't comply with the code. Am I correct?
Correct.
Mr. White, am I correct?
Yes, you are correct.
Okay, in the terms of the industry, they call that a softball, but all right. You should have said
And,
correct.
and rarely does Mr. Wexler serve one up.
I was
Mr.
gonna
White.
say, you're funny tonight. You are funny tonight.
I don't know what's going on with him.
It's Dune. We had a home in Dune for a number of years. So anyway,
It is.
All right.
So Deirdre from planning, any objections?
No objections.
All right. Does anyone wish to be heard in this application? Does the board have any further questions? Mr. Wexler, I'll take a motion.
I'll make a motion that we grant the application.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Application granted. Have a great night.
Thank you,
you,
Chairman,
everyone.
member of the boards. Have a good night. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Next application number 358-21, Salvatore C. DeLegge III and Kerry T. DeLegge. Permission to erect a two-story addition, 16.5 feet by 30.5 feet, leaving side yards of 9.2 feet and 10.5 feet instead of the required 18 feet each, total side yards of 19.7 feet instead of the required 36 feet, and to erect a porch 5 feet by 12.5 feet, leaving a front yard of 19.6 feet instead of permitted encroachment setback of 34 feet. Residence AA District, west side of Vanderbilt Boulevard, number 408, 85.15 feet north of Shore Drive, Oakdale. Is there anyone here for the applicant?
I think we lost Mary as well. I don't see her.
Well,
Oh,
Mary
good.
just,
Then let's hurry up and go.
Mary finally got fed up with us is what it is. But is there anyone here to let people in?
I think this application was going to be withdrawn.
There's a Mr. Jeffrey Vitale in the room.
The
Mr.
next
Vitale,
application.
Yeah,
Hello, how are you?
are you here on the next application? All right,
Yeah,
hang
that
on.
is
Mr.
my,
Vit-
that's my house that you have shown right now. I believe that's not the one that you're speaking of.
Yeah, it's the wrong.
Correct. Yeah. No, you're right. Okay, so then
This one's withdrawn. then?
358-21 has been withdrawn. Is that correct?
that's what I was told. But
Okay.
Mary's not here to confirm.
So here's what we'll do. Mr. Chairman, can we put it for second call until Ms. Pissarro can confirm the withdrawal? I wouldn't want to prejudice anybody.
Sure.
Okay. So then the next application, I'll call number 359-21, who is Jeffrey J. Vitale.
How are you?
Oh, good. Permission to install in-ground pool, leaving a side yard of 8 feet and rear yard of 8 feet instead of required 18 feet each. To leave roofed over patio, having rear yard of 22.525 feet instead of required 25 feet, and shed having 6.8 feet behind the front line of the dwelling instead of the required 20 feet. Residence AA 278 Cluster District, west side of Julebet Drive, number 88, 280 feet north of Rickmar Drive, Sayville, New York. Mr. Vitale, your name and address for the record, please.
How are you? Jeff Vitale, 88 Julebet Drive, Sayville, New York, 11782.
Okay, and it looks like you got a little pressure because there's someone looking over your shoulder.
Yeah.
Hello. How are you?
Good. How are you guys tonight? Good?
Doing
Good,
well,
thank
thank you.
All right, you want to put a pool in, which is nice. A little too close on both sides. Do you know of any precedent?
Nope.
2017, right?
Nope.
All right. Yes, the setback was 18 feet, and that would be in my living room, and my wife didn't want to put it there, so I'm hoping to have it at the 8 feet, which would fit fairly nice. I did have the neighbors around me to the north, the south, and the west. They did sign paperwork. I hope you received it, that they would be okay with the 8-foot setback. I don't know if that helps at all, but.
I'm going to ask Deirdre from planning. Do we have any, I know there's some pools in this area, any precedent for a side yard or a rear yard?
Not at 8 feet. The closest one is a side yard and rear yard of 10 feet. A lot more were 12 feet and 12 feet or 14 and 10.
Yeah, this is a cluster subdivision though, right? So the lots are going to be
Yes,
smaller by
yes.
definition, and then that's going to require a variance no matter what you do.
Yep.
And Mr. Chairman, I can't see a compliant location for this pool on this property.
I can't either. So would the board possibly, if the applicant can shift to 10 and 10 where we have a precedent for, would that be something that the board would look favorably upon?
Do we have precedent for 10 and 10? And is
Yeah,
it just
it-
one?
It seems it, but I don't know. Mr. Chairman, if you take a look at the survey, can you even move it 2 feet
I think we could shift it.
without bumping into that area to the north of the roofed over patio?
Listen, they can figure out how to get it done
Okay.
at 10 and 10. I just don't see any other way.
I mean, on this lot, I'm okay at 8 and 8, but if the board wants 10, yeah, I'll stick with my
Okay, with 8
colleagues.
and 8 too. I didn't know if the rest of the board was. I was just trying to say we had
That'd be
10.
great.
I like 10 and 10. They're double digits.
And I like you, Mr. Wexler, but 8 feet is fine. I'm only kidding.
I think if we even that, I think is generous because it's probably only one at 10 and 10. Is that correct, Deidre?
Yes, there's only one at 10 and 10.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mr. Vitale, you understand what we're saying? One of the factors is we have to make sure doesn't change the nature and character of the neighborhood. And if someone else comes in and says, hey, the Vitales have a pool, why can't we? And then it keeps growing and growing and growing. So we have a precedent, which we normally don't do at 10 and 10 if it's only a one-off. Whichever way you can shift it to make it 10 and 10.
Okay.
On that, I think you can squeeze it in somehow, maybe.
I think it can work. I think it can work at 10 and 10. I appreciate that.
It may end up in your living room.
Yeah.
I
That's
wouldn't
true.
mind it in the living room.
Wait, do you want the variance now to enclose it and make it part of your?
All right, and your roofed over patio room rear yard at 22.25 instead of 25, and a shed. All right, the shed. How long has that shed been up?
It's been here since I moved in. I moved in 2006.
All right,
It's on a corner property too, Mr. Chairman, so that complicates things for them.
yeah, I'm fine with it. I don't know.
I have no
what else?
no issue with it.
All right.
I'm fine with the shed too.
I mean, it's a cluster subdivision, so. Hey, Ms. Passaro's back.
I'm back.
Hi, man.
Thank
How are you?
goodness, Ms.
We missed
Passaro.
you.
Honestly, we didn't know if we
Here
could,
at the
we-
town crashed.
we were gonna just adjourn everything because we didn't know if we could carry on with that.
Yeah, I know. I was tempted to leave, believe me.
Oh, you did.
Oh,
Many times, I'm sure, given the characters on this board.
All right, does anyone wish to be heard in this application? Does the board have any questions? Mr. Sullivan, I'll take a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I move to deny so much of the application, leaving the in-ground pool at 8 feet, rear yard and 8 feet, and granted at 10 feet on the rear and side yard, and grant the remainder of the application.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Have a great night, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, good luck with your pool.
Thank you.
All right. Next application number 360-21. Christopher and Blanca L. Reyes, permission to leave detached garage 20.2 feet by 24.9 feet, having a rear yard of 2.4 feet instead of required 10 feet. Residence B District, southwest corner of Montana Avenue, number 206, and Adams Avenue, Bay Shore, New York. Is there anyone here for the applicant?
Oh, there he
Hi,
is.
can you hear me?
Yep.
Oh, I've been waiting the whole time and then it froze up on me. I got terrified. Good evening, everybody. Chris Reyes, 206 Montana.
How are you tonight, sir?
I'm all right. And yourself?
Doing well, thanks. You have a detached structure that's
Yes.
a little too close to the rear yard.
Yes. Now, can I ask, because I didn't hear the beginning portion of what you said. Did you mention that dimension? Because there's been a lot of confusion since the beginning.
The dimension of the garage?
The setback dimension.
2.4. I'm sorry, Mr. Chair.
No, okay.
No,
Good.
please.
So
No, no.
2.4 is the current. When
Let me add one thing, Mr. Perez, not to interrupt you. On the CO, there is a demolition of an accessory building, 2-car detached garage back from June of 1964. So there was a detached structure on this CO for this property.
which I heard of.
Yeah.
But when I tried to pull it up for my new permit, no one knew what I was talking about. So I started the process.
Yeah, it definitely was I don't know, Deirdre from planning, do we have any information on that, on this property with that detached structure?
No, I don't have anything.
Well, the demolition permit was issued in 1964.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was born in 1980, so I kind of missed it.
Yeah.
Might have been a slow demolition.
And my mother was born in 64, so
Easy there, Mr.
Um,
Nicolia. I don't believe she'd appreciate you blabbing her age on the internet.
oh, I forgot this is public. You're right. She was born
And
in
why don't you just
1975.
announce, why don't you just announce her weight too?
Yeah, I'm sure I'm gonna hear about this, but
Just
I
say
think
what's
any
what.
vested rights in that structure would be gone for quite some time anyway.
Yeah, don't
so.
try to change the subject.
Yeah, right.
How long did you put this structure up or you? bought that?
Yes, I got a permit. I got a permit for it. And I had finished my final inspection. I had checked in with the town. They said everything was fine. Then 3 months later, I got a violation.
Oh,
And
wait, 1 second, 1 second. When you said you checked in and they said everything was fine,
So-
hold that thought.
so-
Wait, hold that thought. I'm sure they didn't say, sure, go ahead and build it at 2 feet from the property line.
Correct. However, the setback was supposed to be 4 feet. That was an error with the concrete subcontractor. But I was getting conflicting information that the violation was that it was supposed to be at 10 feet,
I
which
see.
is not true.
I think also an issue here is that the fence appears to be maybe, I don't know,
It's
2
only
feet
2
off the
feet.
property line.
Well, the other thing is how big is the structure? And Ms. Pissarro, is this one of those where
It's
perhaps?
502.9.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
I
So-
think this is probably something we may want to reserve on. Mr.
So if it was
Chairman.
2 square feet smaller,
Yeah, point
you would
two
only need a 4 foot,
or 2 feet. Yeah, right.
2 feet
Square
smaller.
feet smaller, right.
But that's
Correct.
still, he built it off the fence instead of
and-
the property line.
Which is understandable. And of
Wait, and I
course, you know, you
also-
put on the siding and you get that 2 square feet as
Well,
we've
that's the
seen
thing. I couldn't
before.
figure out where that 2 square feet came from. because
That's where
when
it
we
came
followed
from.
the
I'll
plan-
bet
Siding.
you. I'll bet you dollars to donuts.
Mm.
I'll bet you a cookie, as I'm fond of saying.
And like I said, they had told me at one point that it was supposed to be 10 feet. And that was a bit concerning because, I mean, if you look at the distance between my house and the garage, that would have put me at like 2.3 feet away from
But
the
it is
house.
supposed to be 10 feet based on the
No,
size.
No, my permit,
At 500 square feet, Mr. Wexler, it's 4 feet, right? Ms. Pissarro, am I correct?
I thought it was 10.
499
No,
or less.
it's
Yeah.
10 when you kick over the 500 square feet. So that's why, and he thought he was at 500 square feet.
correct. And even the notice that I received for the violation said 4 feet. So then I'm like, okay, then I guess we're back at 4.
All right. All right, we got it. I think Mr. Wexler's right.
All
We
right.
should probably
Yeah.
just reserve and chat about it.
Okay. I was just calculating stuff. I'm sorry about that.
No,
All right. Does anyone wish to be heard in this application? Does the board have any questions? Mr. Nicole, I'll take a motion.
Motion to reserve decision.
second.
All in favor?
Aye.
So we have 62 days by law to render a decision. We're going to do the best we can and get it to you as soon as possible.
Can I just ask a question? Because I've never done this before, so I don't even understand where we stand right now.
Well, let me
Yeah,
ask you something. Are you in court on a violation?
No, in court? No.
Yeah. Okay,
No,
so,
the only violation notice I received was for this.
okay, so hear me out then. What you're gonna do is your application, your hearing's been had. As the chairman said, we've closed the record and now we have 62 days to make a decision, but no one can violate you between now and when we make the decision.
Okay, okay.
All right?
All right.
All right?
Thank you. Thank
You
you.
have a great night, sir.
You too.
Mary,
you.
Mary, 358-21, you,
Yes, Ms. Pissarro, 358-21, is that withdrawn?
It's the withdrawn case?
Is it?
Yeah, I have a letter from the applicants that say they wish to discontinue their permit application. They've decided to list their house for sale instead, and they apologize for any inconvenience.
No inconvenience for us. All right, then, our next application, Mr. Chairman, is number 361-21, 38 Laurel Avenue 1 LLC. Permission to erect a second-story addition resulting in 12% expansion of non-conforming use, leaving a front yard of 24.3 feet instead of the required 40 feet. Residence A District, west side of Laurel Avenue, number 38, 132.5 feet south of Woodland Avenue, east of Islip. Is there anyone here for the applicant?
Anyone here from?
She's here.
I see a Beth Moose. Right, that's all I see.
There were two Beth Mooses, so I've just promoted the second one as well.
All right.
We'll see how we do with that one.
I feel bad for the first one. There's a Beth Moose who seems to have audio but no video. Ms. Moose? What's your pleasure, Mr. Chairman?
We could try and second call it once they get their video, audio.
Okay, there's only one more application
We
anyway.
have the three ones that we.
No, I understand. That's on for second call. I'm just saying there's one more on first call. So, Ms. Passaro, you have any objection to that?
Nope, we can. She's in the chat. Beth is telling us that she's here.
Oh, we can't
Okay.
hear her or see her.
Right.
We'll try, keep working at that. In the meantime, number 362-21, Carl O. Vick. Permission to subdivide a lot into two parcels. Lot 1, to erect two-story dwelling on a lot having a width of 75 feet instead of required 100 feet. And Lot 2, to erect a two-story dwelling on a lot having 75 feet instead of the required 100 feet. Residence AA District, north side of Amityville Street, number 47, 750 feet west of North Greenlawn Avenue, Islip Terrace, New York. Is there anyone here for the applicant?
I am. Can you hear me?
Indeed.
Okay. Hi, I'm Carl Vick, 36 Fern Avenue, East Islip, New York.
How are you tonight, sir?
Very good. So as per the call, I have a 150-foot wide lot that I'm looking to subdivide into two parcels. Within the 500-foot radius, there are 38 parcels total, 14 of which are 75 feet. Within 200 feet, there are 18 parcels, 5 of which are 75 feet, of which 4 are on Amityville Street across the street from my lot. Within
And all
the
you need
500
is width of lot. You don't require any other variances, right?
That's correct. So furthermore, there are other 150s on Amityville Street. There are 2 on Amityville Street further to the east. One being a multifamily dwelling, which is a reverse flag lot, actually, within the 500 feet, I'm sorry. So the existing condition is I have 2 homes on this lot, one in the front, one in the back, that have been there for a very long time. I've owned the property for quite a while, and the CO dates back to 1952. I think there was a CFC on in addition to the property. I'm looking to basically, I think these 2 lots or the 2 houses are non-conforming to the area, and I'm looking to build 2 new houses conforming in every way except for the lot width. So that's my
All right.
Good, I see that you do have plenty of lots in the area that have 75 though, which you laid out to us nicely.
Yeah, there are two behind me to the north, and looking at it from the board's point of view, they come back and say, well, listen, we want to knock them down and put new 275s on ours. I'm sitting on 2 existing houses which are non-conforming, so
That's the way you can distinguish that yours from.
so that's from what I've seen from you guys that you could hang your hat on if need be.
Okay.
You've
been watching us too much.
I applaud you, sir, for paying attention to us.
Well,
and
no,
seeing
I'm looking at it from
for your
everybody's point of
application.
view.
That's-
I'm not coming in here blind and just, throwing it at the wind. There is a detached garage up on the northeast corner, which is basically on the property line.
Sure.
And if it was the final straw or deal breaker. As of right now, I'm looking to leave it. It's CO'd, it's pre-existing. Nobody has
That's-
ever. you know, I-
That's not in front of us, is it? No, that's
It's
not
all
in
the way
front
up.
of us.
No, it's on the top right corner of the lot.
No, no,
looking-
no,
Yeah,
no,
but
no.
it's
It's
not
not in
in the-
front of
it's
us.
not
It's
the
not in
call.
the meeting. It's not in the
No,
call of
and
the
it's
meeting.
not, it's not part of, because it's legal. It's CO, it's CO, it's CO.
But we're only here to hear what's in front of us now, and that's the permission to subdivide the lots.
Okay, well, I'm willing to remove that garage if it helps the board render a decision in a
Okay.
different direction.
All right.
That's what I'm asking. or
Thank you.
presenting.
Deidre from planning, any objection?
Yes, planning does have an objection to this. There's a good amount of 150-foot lots in the area that we don't really want to see them start subdividing to create more 75-foot lots. This area wasn't meant to have 75-foot lots. The ones that you see were pre-existing, and like the houses that were on it were granted, but they were granted with the verbiage to erect a house on a 75-foot lot, not being subdivided.
Well,
So I
but how did it get to be a 75-foot lot? It had to be subdivided at some point.
Yeah, but
All right.
not in the same way that
So,
This-
so what you're saying is, but there are 75-foot lots.
there are.
So
but
the character and nature of the neighborhood,
farming
Doesn't
lots,
change.
it's not going to change. But
And I don't know this for a fact, but this 150-foot wide lot has two non-conforming structures on it. And he's looking to make them conforming at 75, which there are multiple 75-foot lots in the area.
well, it's not conforming then if it's a 75-foot wide lot.
Well,
But,
Right,
all right, but
that-
yes, that's
he's-
why
I
he's
think
here,
the
and that's why we're
chairman's-
talking about character and nature of the neighborhood, which seems to be somewhat non-conforming. I mean, this isn't a planning textbook. This is real life. So
There's more 100-foot lots in the area. There's more 150-foot lots combined with 100-foot lots. There's a lot more of those in
Deidre,
75. That
I'm
was
sorry, I can't follow your logic, the syllogism. What is it that you find objectionable? I mean, I'm looking at it, and there seems to be a number of 75s. What is it that distinguishes this? At the end of the day, there's going to be two homes on 75-foot lots. Okay.
Yep.
What distinguishes this that militates against granting it, in your opinion, or distinguishes it?
that there are more lots that are conforming than non-conforming. That
But
there
that's
are lots
never
that are
the test that we
150 can also
use.
be- That what?
That's never the test, whether there's more or less. I mean, we
Let-
kind of,
I think we cut her off. Go ahead, Ms. Ryan. I'm sorry.
There are more lots that are conforming, and there are lots that are 150 that could be subdivided after this creates a precedent.
Well, but the precedent it might create is limited by the fact that there's two houses on 150-foot frontage lot now, right? So there's no more in terms of impact on the neighborhood, services, roadways, et cetera, et cetera. None of that exists because there's already two houses there. As
Right, but the-
opposed to these other 150s that may have a single family dwelling on it.
right, we're not increasing density, so to speak.
Right.
Well, the house that's on this lot it's not like they're side by side that you would see from the roadway. The house that's also on this property is all the way in the back.
Right, but impacts are more than visual, right? Two
no.
houses create double the garbage. Two houses have double the traffic. You know,
I'm just
those
saying that from
things.
the street view, you might not notice that there's even two houses on the lot.
Okay.
Right. Okay. So aside
understood.
from that, but actual
Understood.
non-aesthetic impacts are going to be minimal here.
Here on this lot, yes.
But that would be a distinguishing circumstance that would prevent other 150s in the future. Because as you just said, here on this lot.
Right. But it could create then the precedent to let other ones subdivide.
Let me ask you a question. How many 150 lots are there with two existing dwellings on them?
There's only this one.
Oh, so great.
Right, but there's other 150 lots in the area that could then
but Deidre, let me just ask you a question.
But-
Again, I'm trying to understand if somebody said, there are no are there vacant 150-foot lots?
I didn't see any.
No.
I can't imagine that area. So how would somebody come to us to create something similar, saying, I have a 150-foot lot, I want to knock down a house and build two? Wouldn't that be essentially their application?
Yes.
Okay, and wouldn't we be able to distinguish it, saying, no, there were two existing? He's not creating anything worser.
Worser.
I see that, I make that word up, obviously. But doesn't that give us a distinction? They're already there.
No, again.
So how would that set a precedent? If somebody said, I want to knock down the house, subdivide and build two? We could easily distinguish that, or am I missing something?
The same. They might think it's the same just because it's not 250. That's the only thing. I just don't want people to come further to try and.
Oh, we won't let them. You got me on the board.
We appreciate planning's opinion. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Does anyone wish to be heard on this application? Does the board have any questions? Mr. Wex, I'll take a motion.
I'll make a motion that we grant the application.
Second.
Favor?
Aye.
Application granted, sir. Have a great night.
Thank you. Have a great night.
Is the last application you
Yeah.
want to go through, is she back in and can she?
She is. She said she's got a different device now, so.
All right, so we'll recall number 361-2138 Laurel Avenue 1 LLC. Again, permission to erect second-story addition resulting in 12% expansion of non-conforming use, leaving a front yard of 24.3 feet instead of the required 40 feet.
I
Residence
can
A,
call, if they don't hear me, just,
We hear
Residence
you.
A District, west side of Laurel
you
Avenue,
can hear
number
me?
38,
Yes.
132.5 feet south of Woodland Avenue, East Islip. Is there anyone here for the app?
Good evening.
hi, how are you?
Good. Name and address for the record, please.
Beth Moose, 38 Laurel Avenue.
Great. You're here for permission to erect an addition, second story,
Yes, a dormer.
okay? Resulting in 12% expansion non-conforming use, leaving a front yard of 24.3 instead of required 40. The house holds 24.3 now, setback, right? Not going any farther forward?
No,
You're just going out to the side a little bit or right above the top?
we're going above the top.
Okay. All right, Deirdre from planning, any objection?
No objections.
Does anyone wish to be heard in this application? Does the board have any questions? Mr. Wex, I'll take a motion.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'll make a motion that we grant the application.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Application granted. Have a great night.
Thank you very much.
All right, Mr. Chairman, then we'll return to the first three items on our agenda. Ms. Passaro was the applicant's representative here.
She is.
Fabulous. Number 346-21, Todd Borer. Permission to leave semi in-ground pool having side yard of 12 feet instead of required 14 feet. Residence A District, east side of Bartley Lane, number 21, 701.74 feet north of Andrea Lane, West Sayville, New York. Is there anyone here for the applicant?
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the board.
Good evening, Roxanne.
The appearance, Roxanne Trella, Dynamic Expediting Services with offices at 1040 Terry Road, Ronkonkoma, New York.
How are you tonight?
I'm okay, thank you. How are you?
Good. So you,
So we're here for the above ground pool. It's a semi in-ground, it's 18 by 34, and we're here for a side yard variance. It has 12 feet on one corner and 13.2 on the other instead of the 14 feet required.
it seems de minimis. Does anyone wish to be heard in this application? Board have any questions? Mr. Sullivan, I'll take a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I move to grant the application.
Second.
Favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Next application number 347-21, Kevin and Luz Muller. Permission to leave a detached garage, 23.5 feet by 30.6 feet, having a side yard of 3 feet instead of required 10 feet. And a shed having a side yard of 1.5 feet instead of the required 2 feet. Residence A District, west side of Gardner Drive, number 1420, 100 feet Poplar Drive. Sorry about that. Bay Shore, New York. That's the way it's written. Anyone here for the applicant?
Good evening again, Roxanne Trella, Dynamic Expediting with offices at 1040 Terry Road, Ronkonkoma, New York.
Good evening again.
Good evening. So I'll start with the easy one first, the shed. 80 square feet, it's a small shed. It's 1.5 feet instead of the required 2 feet.
All right, let's go to the big one.
And then we have the detached garage, 3 feet instead of the required 10. So it's been here for about 25 to 30 years. Unfortunately, this was a very unique situation in that the homeowners were married. They were divorced. The husband stayed with the property and built this. So she has no paperwork. And the house went into foreclosure and she was able to buy it back from the bank. So she does have possession of it now, but unfortunately she has no documentation or plans from when this was built. We were able to confirm that it was built about 25 to 30 years ago with, with aerials and with the planning department. I did look in the area to see if there was any precedent. The only precedent that I could find with an actual ZBA decision was from 2004, and it was 2.6 feet instead of 10. There were a couple of detached garages in the area on the block right behind her and on her same block as well. Those were listed on the CO, but they were listed as being built prior to the 50s and 60s. So although they're very similar in size and setbacks, they don't have any prior ZBA decisions because it wasn't required when they were built.
That's still nature and character, so that still counts for something. Can we see an aerial for this, please? And that's the subject parcel. That's the shed, which is in line with the pool. Actually creates a little privacy. I have no objection to it, Mr. Chairman. I don't know how our colleagues feel, but
I don't know. I do. I don't know how we can grant 1.5. I mean, that's the new floor.
No. 1.5 is instead of 2 for the shed. We're
Right.
granting 3 feet instead of 10.
Yeah, I still think that's a 70%
Well,
reduction.
I understand that.
Yeah.
I'm just telling you how I feel. Yeah.
Yeah,
But we do, I think Roxanne stated that she does have a precedent of a grant.
That's true. That's less than this, in
It's
fact.
less than that.
Do we know anything about that grant? Or here we go again. We just,
Yeah, we know it's a grant.
Yeah, but we don't know any of that. Why don't
That's all I got, Mr. Wexler.
Why don't we reserve so we can figure out? what
Sounds
we're
fine to
doing?
me.
I'm fine with that.
Sounds fine to me.
Roxanne, your clients have indicated they wanted to be heard, and they are in the panel now.
Yes, okay.
Hello, how are you?
Good evening. Name and address for the record, please.
Kevin Muller, 1420 Gardner Drive, Bay Shore, New York, 11706.
How are you tonight, sir?
Good, how are you?
Good.
So we recently purchased the property. The house next door is my mother's house. It was my father and my mom that lived there. My father passed away about 9 years ago. He sold the property to the owner that I just bought it from. So the property means a lot to us sentimentally. The garage has been there for, like she said, over 20 years. It's been part of our childhood. That's really it. I mean, I'm just asking if we can keep what's been there, that's all.
Yeah, I appreciate your time and your words, and we're going to, I believe the board's going to reserve decision and really research it. Roxanne gave some possible precedents in the area that we want to look into and see how they were granted or put there, and we'll be able to make a decision at that point.
It looks like Norma would like to speak. So Norma, just unmute yourself. So it's a little, there you go.
There we go. Hi. Yes, my name is Norma Muller. I live at 1424 Gardner Drive, right next door. My son came home and bought the house next door. The shed has been there, like they said, for about 25, 30 years. Doesn't bother anybody, and there hasn't been any issues with it whatsoever. So I really have no problem with that staying there.
Appreciate your words, and we're going to do the best we can to research the area and see what we can do. So we're here for.
Is there any way we can date the garage with any kind of proof of when it was constructed?
Well, my late husband and I sold the property about 32 years ago, and they came in right away, maybe 2 years later, 3 years later, and that garage went up like they were there about a year or two. So the garage has been there about 28 to 29 years, I would say.
Any maybe pictures of it with a timestamp on a picture or something, just to give us a little something to hang our hat on, as we say?
I mean, I'd have to go back and look at family pictures, but I'm sure it's there because that's usually where we put the table for the kiddies' birthday parties, and usually the garage is right there.
Yeah.
I can
but
also ask my client, who was the seller to these new purchases, if she has any old photographs, and I could forward them to the zoning office.
Okay, great.
I will look also because I know we've done a few things. So if I have anything, I'll forward it as well.
Great. Appreciate your time. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Does anyone else wish to be heard in this application? Does the board have any further questions? Mr. Nicoli, I'll take a motion.
Are we reserving this?
We're reserving.
Yes.
Motion to reserve decision.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right.
Application reserved. We have 62 days, Ms. Trella, as you know, and we'll get back.
Great, thank you.
Next application number 348-21, Danielle Adio. Permission to leave reconstructed dwelling, leaving a side yard of 13.4 feet instead of required 14 feet, the building height of 29.2 feet instead of permitted 28 feet. To leave additions to detached garage 5.2 feet by 17.7 feet, 4.8 feet by 8.5 feet, having rear yard of 3.5 feet instead of required 10 feet, and to leave a driveway on the side yard property line not having required setback of 4 feet. Residence B District, east side of Washington Avenue, number 27, 100 feet south of Jackson Avenue, East Islip, New York. Is there anyone here for the applicant?
Good evening again, Roxanne Trella, Dynamic Expediting with offices at 1040 Terry Road, Ronkonkoma, New York.
You?
I'm good. I'd actually like to request an adjournment on this file. The client was also looking to establish an accessory apartment, and it was left out of the denial and subsequent the advertisement.
I'll make
All
the
right, you
motion
want-
to adjourn.
Second.
All in
Second.
favor?
Aye.
Do you have an open adjournment? You want to next date or what's up?
The next available, if we could, that Mary has, unless she wants me to call tomorrow.
No, can everybody do July 6th, being the day after the
Day after the holiday?
Yeah, you're gonna meet that day, fellas. Sorry.
Oh, no.
No, I think we'll be in foul moods that day. I wouldn't put anything.
Well,
on.
I'll be
That's
celebrating America, Ms. Pissarro. Don't you dare.
Well, you know the holiday is 2 days prior, right? When you're celebrating.
Some of us need a little more time to.
Ms. Pissarro, some of us are proud
As
of this
they
country.
age,
Very
they don't
proud of this
recover quite
country.
as quickly.
What about if I wear red, white, and blue and like a flag
No,
hat?
no, that'll get us in trouble.
You don't need Mr. Wexler in a fouler mood than usual.
You don't want.
No comment.
All right, July 6th it is.
Thank you.
Thank you, Roxanne.
And
Thank
Ms.
you.
Pissarro, as I understand it, we have a few items to vote on. Am I right?
We do. We have, I'm sure I put some accessory apartments on here. I believe I put 5 on.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
Favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I hope I put them on, but thank you for renewing them anyway.
We have some read-ins, decisions on
Yeah,
others.
we have
Ms.
some
Pissarro?
read-ins. Hold on, just give me 1 second. I'll be right back. Talk among yourselves.
Are we live?
Yes, we are live, so don't
Okay.
talk amongst yourselves.
And then you'll understand what I'm about to do. Okay, here I come. Application number 165-21. This is actually a revote of a vote that we took last week. Edward Stephen and Erica Sue Coleman, in accordance with the proposed written decision dated June 15, 2021, the application is denied on motion of, it's in East Islip, so Mr.
Mr. Wexler?
Wexler.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Carried by a vote of 4-0. Mr. Nicolia recusing. Okay, the next application is in Fire Island. It's application number 616-21, Beach Bliss. In accordance with the proposed written decision dated June 15, 2021, the application is denied without prejudice on motion of
Mr. Wexler.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed.
And Mr. Lorenzo, I think you're opposed to that as well.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay, so that is carried, denied without prejudice, is carried by a vote of 3-2. On motion of Mr. Wexler, seconded by Mr.
Get
Messina.
automatic leave to the Court of Appeals, right, Mr. Wexler?
At least, maybe the Hob.
Better hurry up.
Yeah, right?
Connell says no.
That's right.
And the next application is in Holbrook. It's application number 164-21, Furrows Road LLC. In accordance with the proposed written decision dated June 15, 2021, the application is denied on motion of
Motion for the reasons stated in the decision.
anybody want a second?
Mr.
I'll
Wexler?
second.
Hey, thank
Second.
you.
All in
Since I
favor?
seconded you all night. you know.
Yep, I don't want to leave you hanging.
Recuse.
All in favor?
Aye.
Carried by a vote of 4-0. Mr. Nicolia recusing from the vote. Thank you, everyone.
All right, if that, I'll make a